I'm going to break down exactly how we fix Google PPC lead quality for motivated sellers so that you stop wasting ad spend budget and actually generate leads that convert. Most investors that I talk to on a day-to-day basis know that their campaigns are not spending as optimally as they could be, but the issue is they don't know how to fix that problem in a concrete way. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact system that I use with my clients to fix the lead quality issue and actually generate an ROI from Google PPC campaigns. So what is the biggest mistake that wholesalers are making with these campaigns that's causing this ad spend to be wasted or for bad quality leads to come through their funnels? I think that it's not necessarily one single mistake that wholesalers are making. I think it's just that people don't really know what to look for in their campaigns or, where the problem is actually stemming from. It's more just a matter of knowing what are the right things that they should be doing and just being unaware of the things that are potentially causing their campaign to waste some budget or in some cases quite a bit of budget. So when wholesalers come to me, usually what I hear a lot of is, they mention that the lead quality is not very good. This could be because they're seeing a lot of spam. It could just be because they're seeing a lot of retail leads come through their funnel. Occasionally, I also hear that they are just struggling with lead flow. But regardless, in both cases, while this is very frustrating, it's actually a very easy fix if you put the right systems in place. If you don't have the right systems in place, you could be potentially wasting up to 50% of your ad spend on bad traffic, low quality leads, and just wasted budget. And I'm not exaggerating. And just to illustrate this briefly right now, I'm going to show you an example of a client who actually was in a hole. So they had worked with a previous agency that they had spent quite a bit of money with, and they did not generate a return. So they already were coming to me kind of in a deficit in terms of the money that they had spent. And we actually turned it around for them and made it profitable for them. And the money that they made back working with us actually covered the deficit that they had lost with the previous agency. So they actually recovered their funds from working with the old agency that did not work for them. And then they actually made money and were in a profit after a few months of working with me. And just to illustrate this, if you're curious, this is the client that I'm talking about, Randy. You can see here that he said, working with Derek over the last couple of months was phenomenal. The other agency they worked with, they'd lost a lot of money, but we basically took them out of that hole and also made them money, and they closed actually 4 deals in 2 months. So now I'm going to go over the 3 main pillars of our system. As you can see here, number 1, we want to filter out the bad leads. Number 2, we want to reinforce the good leads. And then number 3, we want to have good post-conversion follow-up systems. These are the 3 core pillars of what I do. So to go over this one at a time, when you're filtering bad leads, it all starts with what you allow in first, right? So we have a negative keywords list, and I'll show you that here. If I zoom, you can see that there are 3 lists here split into 3,000 to 5,000 keywords each. This is in total about 13,000 negative keywords that we have, and we include this on every campaign that we run. That's the beginning. That's the starting point. You have to make sure that this is a robust list that filters out keywords from retail sellers. If you don't do this, you're going to be letting in a lot of junk from the start, and you're going to have to manually build that up over time. I add to this list all the time. Me and my team members, we go through and we filter out search terms in my clients' traffic, and we slowly add to this day by day, week by week, and it's always growing. So that's number 1. When people search on Google, you want to make sure that you're only allowing searches in that make sense, that would indicate they're probably a motivated seller and have some level of intent. So that negative keyword list, where you want to start with that to make sure you're immediately from the beginning filtering out stuff that we don't want. Number 2 is ClickSees. Now, this is a software that you can use, and I recommend all my clients to use it. Basically, all my clients do. And what this does is it blocks out a lot of fraudulent clicks. So if you're, first of all, starting with a negative keywords list, you're starting with a baseline and filtering people out you don't want, right? Then you need to make sure that the people that do get past that first layer of defense, you want to make sure that they're not fraudulent clickers or people that are just going to waste your time or spend and waste your budget. So you're going to have some percentage of people you're filtering out from this, having this built out, right? Even if that was, let's say, 5%, that's still, it's still a good starting point. ClickSees, this is going to filter out people that are using a VPN. So that's going to eliminate out-of-market searches for you. It's going to eliminate people that are clicking on your page and immediately bouncing. So they're kind of time wasters. It's going to eliminate people that are clicking multiple times on your ads. That could be fraudulent or just, again, more time wasters. And it's going to eliminate people that are using fraudulent devices. So basically, they're using a device with multiple IPs out on it and trying to basically waste your budget intentionally. This is like malicious attack. This on every account that we use this with, it usually always will end up blocking 25 to 35% of the traffic. Okay. If you have this in place, the next layer of defense is your keyword strategy. So this means that you're only using keywords that attract motivated sellers. So the keywords that you're actually bidding on, the keywords that you want people to find your ads through, need to be things like sell house cash, sell house fast. If you just use keywords like sell my house, you're going to be attracting not only retail sellers, but also the motivated sellers, right? You're going to be getting both basically. We don't want that mix in there. We want just to have motivated seller searches come through. And so I have kind of whittled and narrowed this down to a list of about 100 different keywords that I find to work really well. And you want to stick to exact and phrase match only. And you want to be really careful about which keywords you use and analyze the search traffic coming from them over time. If you don't have a good keyword strategy, I mean, this could account for another 10% of bad traffic, honestly, or more. You know, I'm just estimating this. I see this literal statistic, and actually that should be 35, sorry. I see this statistic literally in the accounts that we manage with ClickSease with all my clients. It breaks it down. These are my estimated guesses, but you can imagine if you don't have a negative keywords list, that's going to have an impact. If you don't have the right keywords you're targeting, or you're targeting broad match, or you're targeting, you know, potentially keywords that are wasting your money because they're attracting retail, that could account for another 10% at least. Now, the next layer of defense, right? We've gone through three. This is number four, is going to be ad copy filtering. So this is basically where you make sure that all of your ads only use language that speaks to motivated sellers. If you're using the right keywords, you have your negative keywords list in place. You still may get some retail people, and you know, no campaign's perfect, honestly, right? Even with this system that I use, no campaign we have performs perfectly. But if you have ads that actually speak to motivated sellers and try to avoid language that could attract retail sellers, that adds another layer, right? Because if someone searches, you know, sell my house fast, and they see that your ads are only talking about a cash offer, if they're not really motivated seller, they're not really going to be considering just a cash offer, right? Because they're going to be wanting to get full retail value, but maybe they just want to sell, you know, on a certain timeline that is a little bit faster than normal. So, you know, they can lean more towards the retail side, but then if you have language in there that, you know, really explicitly makes it clear we are looking to provide cash offers for people that, you know, maybe have a distressed property or in a distressed situation, that's going to automatically, just by the language you use, filter certain people out. So again, let's say that this, I'm just going to say 5%, just kind of keep it on the low side. But already, right, let's say that this is 25% and you add another 10, that's 35, that's already 40%, right? And then you have landing page qualifiers. So what I mean by this is that when someone visits the landing page, it needs to be a good converting landing page, first of all. And that's something we'll go over when we get to section 2 here. But your landing page needs to have qualifiers on it that push people out that still make it through the cracks. Okay. So even with all these different layers, you're still going to have people that are going to hit your page that will still fill out your form. And sometimes the only way to get these people to not fill it out is to tell them not to. And so you put a checkbox on your form at the bottom and basically say, hey, if you're retail, meaning like if you're looking to get retail value for your property, maybe, you know, if you're a wholesaler, if your property is already listed, do not submit on our form, or say, I agree that I'm not XYZ, you know, before they could submit the form. That will also help. So let's just say that's another 5%, right? So this alone is almost 50% of your traffic already and can really help clear up a lot of lead quality issues. Now, that's not to say it's going to be perfect, right? No campaign's ever perfect. It's all about the percentages, and it's all about trying to push that percentage to a healthy level, or to keep it within healthy boundaries. You don't want the majority of your leads coming in to always be low quality. You're always going to get some that you don't want. You're always going to have a certain percentage of leads that are low quality, but you need to start pushing the percentages more towards a healthy, balanced campaign that will produce a good ROI for you. All right, section 2. Now that we've kind of focused on, with number 1, section 1 here, filtering out bad leads, let's focus on this section here. So how do we now reinforce the good leads? So this is done through offline conversion tracking. I've made videos on this in the past, but what it starts with is you set up offline conversion tracking. So this is a technical thing that you have to build out within Google Ads and connect it to your CRM. We do this automatically for all our clients. But basically, the way that it works is the process is that my clients will tag leads in the CRM that we set up for them, and they tag them as either a qualified lead or as a closed deal. That then, based on an automation we set up, will immediately send that information back to their Google ad account, back to their campaign, and tell Google that those specific leads were qualified or that those specific leads closed into converted deals and actually made my clients money. And then Google, you have basically a feedback loop. So as that data set grows, as you get more and more of those tagged qualified leads or closed deals, Google gets a bigger and bigger data set. And then Google starts to understand who your ideal client is and which type of leads are making you the most money. And then it can basically try to push money in your actual campaign into the ads, the keywords, the locations, the types of searches, and the sellers that are producing those types of leads for you. So it becomes a feedback loop. And the more that my clients use the system and more that they tag leads and the more that that data set builds, the better this feedback loop becomes. This is going to be specific to your business. Technically, you probably could use other data sets, they're compiled, but you want to be building your own data set for your own business so that Google knows exactly what you want, what you need for your markets, and you're targeting the type of leads that are making you money. That's going to be different for everybody. Now, the last part of this is optimizing the landing page. But by the way, if we look at these percentages on what we're filtering out, you also have to consider that you're actually going to be increasing the percentage of good leads over time by utilizing this offline conversion tracking system. Okay. So that's another aspect of this. So you can see it's not just any one thing that you do to your campaign. It's a combination of lots of different things that all come together and build a system that over time produces better and better quality. And I'm going to show you that here in a second. I'll show you actual examples. So the last part of this is actually optimizing the landing page. So not only do we want to use the landing page to filter out leads that are not very good, we want to utilize your landing page to actually build authority and to make sure that you're presenting yourself in a way that causes people to trust you more and then become more likely to submit on your page. And so what we did with one client was we had kind of our basic template and set up for him, branded for his business, running his campaign for quite a while. And we actually made some adjustments to his landing page to make it more personalized so that they put more of a face to his business and provided a little bit more information on who they were, and made some optimizations like that. And it actually increased his conversion rate on his landing page a full 10%. Now, I'll show you that here. That would be this client right here. So you can see here, there's the conversion rate since June, around 27, 30%, 20 down to 20% sometimes. But somewhere around in here at the beginning of the year, we changed his landing page, and you can see that the conversion rates have gone up significantly. I mean, right there, that's, from maybe like a 30% conversion rate all the way up to a 40% conversion rate alone. And actually this month has been even higher. But you can see that just by making that adjustment, that alone increased the number of leads converting on his page. Now, let's go over two more examples of how this system has generated results for a couple of my clients over a longer period of time as these changes were implemented into their business over time and as their accounts have grown and they've spent more on their ads. So the first example here, we have this account that you can see this is their conversion rate. So similar to what I just showed you with my other client, you can see that the conversion rates have gone up over time. Okay, so when they first got started around 15% or so, and then up to about 20% and climbing to around 30%, even up to 40% at times. And just to illustrate this, you can see that if we take the conversion rate off and we look at just the cost and the total number of leads being submitted, over time, the cost has gone up, meaning that they've actually spent more and more over time. So when they first got started, it was under $10,000 a month, up to around 15, up to close to $20,000 or $19,000 a month. And recently they've increased their overall cost that they're spending per month even more. And you can see that the number of leads submitted on their forms has also gone up. Now, as they've spent more and they've also gotten more leads, you can see that their conversion rate also has been going up as well. And that is because of the system that we implement, right? That's because of all the things that I mentioned before, where we're filtering out the bad leads and building that data set over time to show Google what the good leads are and what they actually want to generate with their campaign, and the feedback gets better over time. Now, there are ebbs and flows to every campaign, but you can see the general pattern has gotten better, and they've been able to scale over a long period of time to higher and higher levels of ad spend in a sustained and controlled way. Another example, we have this account here, and this doesn't have the data for the last month here. That's because they actually switched to a more local campaign. But you can see all of this data here. It's the same, basically the same thing that I just showed you with the other account. This is back from the beginning of the year in January, and you can see that the conversion rates are around maybe 20% or so, but consistently climbing upwards around 30, 35, and even here at the end, right before we switch this over, even up to 40 to 50% conversion rate, which is very, very good. And you can look as well at the costs, right? The cost actually didn't change too much, but generally cost stayed the same, but the number of leads generated actually was going up, right? So that means that their cost per lead was likely coming down and the conversion rates were going up. Now, the third part of this is the post-conversion. So what do you do actually after you generate the leads? This is another big aspect of the system. And this is basically the follow-up systems with authority content that we put in all of our clients' CRMs and that we provide for our clients. Whether they choose to fully use it or not, some clients have their own systems pre-existing already that they use, but once a lead has converted on your landing page, the follow-up process and the immediate follow-up is the next most important thing you can do for PPC, right? So if, let's say that reinforcing good leads here accounts for another 10%, this can account, let's just say another 10, maybe 5 to 10% of effectiveness, right? And I'll show you kind of what this looks like in brief. So for the follow-up systems, basically this is a demo account of the CRM we provide for our clients. We run this through Go High Level. We've been using this for years. Basically, every time that a lead comes into my client's pipeline, it goes into this lead in bucket and it immediately triggers a automated follow-up campaign. So here you can see all the different follow-up campaigns that are part of this system. We have the initial follow-up campaign that sends an initial email and then sends text, ringless voicemails, and emails over a long period of time, about 140 days. As you can see, it sends an initial text message followed by another one saying that we'll follow up briefly. It sends voicemails, emails, and this just continues, goes on, and is pretty heavy the first 5 to 10 days. And then the system also has all these other follow-up campaigns for different scenarios. So we have a follow-up campaign if the lead was listed already, if the lead's already working with the competition, if it went cold, long-term follow-up. And my client can kind of use these or adapt or adjust them how they need to. But that's the main idea. And the other thing is that the language we use in this follow-up is to try to build authority and to get back in touch with leads, or to initially get the leads to respond to the campaigns. So when you combine all of this together, you can see that these percentages are going to add up to quite a big impact on your campaign overall. And that's the results that you'll see. Now, just to go over briefly some more hard proof on this, you can see these are some clients of mine that have actually done really awesome testimonials for me. With Jordan here, this was when they were about 15 to 16 months into their campaign. And they said not only has it been the best lead quality with someone they've worked with, they've also referred lots of people to me, and they had basically 6 to 7x ROI. And Jordan is still a current client and he's still getting great results. Nick and Tishan, it's very similar. They had, when they first started, they had only spent about $8,000 in ad spend, and that was already turned into $340,000 in escrow. Their comments were that these were some of the top of the line leads, and the leads just for them didn't get better. They had done a lot of research. They found me, sat down with me. We looked at all the things that they had questions about and different concerns that they had, got started, and it totally transformed their business. So this is what I do for my clients every day, day in, day out. If you want to learn more, continue watching my channel. Go ahead and subscribe. I'm always producing more content, and I break down this process even further in a lot of my videos. So if you're serious about scaling, you can actually see exactly how this framework can change your results. If you don't want to miss any future videos like this one, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.